welcome to the deep dive. We got a request from a listener for, well, basically a reality check on the meme coin scene.
Yeah, especially after that mid-September crash kind of put a damper on things across the board. The general feeling is pretty cautious.
Definitely cautious. But our sources, being crypto, CoinMarketCap, places like that, they're pointing to a few, well, let's call them outliers, tokens showing some serious, maybe even explosive potential for October 2025.
And that's really our mission today. We're not just listing coins that went up. We need to dig into the why behind 3 specific tokens that are making noise.
Exactly. What's driving them? Is it just pure crazy volatility, or is there maybe something more like actual utility being built?
We need to categorize the risks involved too.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So we picked 3 that sort of represent different angles on meme coins right now. You've got the pure volatility play, then one with really big utility ambitions, and finally one that's just climbing the market ranks on sheer momentum.
Sounds about right.
Our goal here is to give you, the listener, a clear picture, the technical levels to watch, the built-in risks, and maybe some context around what's actually happening with these tokens.
And I think we have to start with maybe the most extreme example of volatility we came across. BurnedFi, ticker BRN.
And we say volatility here. We really mean it. The source is flagged, okay, an overall 77% rise recently, which is solid.
Pretty good, yeah.
But the number that just jumps out, the headline grabber, is that 2,385% jump.
And get this, that was in a single day, a 24-hour period.
It's wild. Not a week, not a month, one day.
That single move, that flash event, was enough to push Burn into its all-time high at $73.74.
$73, wow. And where is it now?
Well, that's the thing. It's way down now, around $3.19. Market cap sitting about $21 million. It really shows you that pattern, right? Huge spike, then often a pretty sharp correction.
For sure. And that kind of price action, that huge swing, it naturally makes you skeptical. So how stable can something like Burn actually be?
Well, here we see that classic crypto tension, the whales versus the wider community.
Okay.
So on one side, you've got pretty significant concentration risk. The top 10 wallets, they hold about 26% of all Burn tokens.
26% in just 10 wallets. Okay, that's a lot of power if they decide to sell.
Exactly. If even a couple of those big holders dump, that price floor could just vanish. Poof.
But you mentioned a counterpoint, something pushing back against that instability.
Yeah, because despite that concentration, Burn apparently has over 85,000 unique holders.
85,000. That's a surprisingly large number.
It is. It suggests a really broad community base. And that's the fascinating part, this tension. The risk is concentrated with maybe 10 people, but the potential stability, the community backing, comes from 85,000.
So the big question is, if those whales do sell, can that big community absorb the shock? Can they catch that falling knife, so to speak?
That's the million-dollar question. Psychologically, 85,000 holders feel stable, but practically, a coordinated 26% sell-off would still cause immediate damage.
Right. So for you listening and maybe tracking Burn this October, what are the key technical levels we need to watch?
Okay, right now, Burn is sitting just under a resistance level at $3.68.
$3.68?
Yeah. If it breaks out above that, gets some bullish momentum, you could see it push towards maybe $5, possibly higher.
And the downside, if that bullish scenario fails?
Well, if selling pressure picks up, that support level at $2.43 becomes critical. It needs to hold.
And if it doesn't?
If it slips through $2.43, the models point towards a potential drop to $1.72. And if we hit $1.72, honestly, any short-term bullish idea for October is pretty much off the table.
Okay, that's BRN, the extreme volatility example. Yeah. Let's pivot now. Let's talk about Manyu. M-A-N-Y-U. This one's trying a different path, attempting to build actual utility, move beyond just being a meme.
ManYu's definitely been a standout recently. It surged, 203% since early September, so it's grabbing a lot of attention.
200% is huge, especially in a down market. Are the technicals backing that up?
They seem to be, yeah. According to CoinStats, it's trading around, let me check, 0.00005449. Lots of zeros there.
Yeah, typical meme coin price.
Right. And they highlighted the parabolic SAR indicator. Now, for listeners who aren't familiar, think of it like a trailing stop marker.
Okay.
When that marker is below the price candles on the chart, it basically means the price keeps moving up past its recent support points. It's generally seen as confirming an uptrend.
So the SAR is suggesting MYU could keep rallying.
It suggests the rally could extend, maybe beyond $0.0000007,000.
Sounds really positive, but what's the catch? What could derail that?
Well, the usual suspect in the meme coin world, people taking profits.
The sell-off risk.
Exactly. If enough current holders decide, okay, 200% is good for me, and start selling, that pressure could push the price back down. The key support level to watch there is 0.0000003244. It could slip there, or maybe even lower.
Okay, but here's where, for me, BurnedFi gets really interesting. It's not just about the price chart. They're selling a whole story, a culture, and this ambitious development plan.
Absolutely. The branding is very specific. They call it the cutest Chinese Shiba on the internet.
Right.
Built on Binance Smart Chain, and it leans heavily into Chinese cultural themes. Lucky coins, exploding like a red packet on Lunar New Year. It's trying to be this mix of meme, AI, and charity.
A lot going on there.
Yeah.
And the token structure, the tokenomics, they seem designed to avoid the classic rug pull scenario.
Seems like it. They've tried to address common investor fears. Yes, there's a massive 1 quadrillion token supply, which sounds insane.
1 quadrillion, yeah.
But critically, they say 100% of the initial liquidity was burned permanently. So the devs can't just pull the plug and run off with the funds.
But that's it.
Plus, 0% buy and sell taxes, and they've renounced ownership of the contract. So no central control, theoretically.
Now, I have to jump in here because this is where our research got confusing.
Yeah.
The sources gave wildly different numbers for the market cap.
Ah, yes.
One source mentioned around $56 million, which, is pretty substantial for a coin like this.
Definitely.
But another source, it reported a market cap of just $26,000. Like $26,000, that's not even close.
That is a massive discrepancy. And honestly, it's a huge red flag for anyone thinking of investing. You absolutely have to do your own digging there.
Why would the numbers be so different?
It highlights a real problem in crypto data, especially for newer or smaller tokens. Different platforms use different data feeds, different calculation methods. Maybe one is using fully diluted cap versus circulating supply, or comparing DEX volume versus newly listed CEX volume.
So the takeaway for you listening is, if you see market cap numbers that far apart, you have to figure out how they're being calculated before you trust either one.
Precisely. It just shows how inconsistent reporting can be. But, okay, setting aside that valuation confusion for a second, their roadmap is incredibly ambitious. It suggests they are trying to build something long-term.
Ambitious is one word for it. I mean, the roadmap you described sounds almost like wishful thinking sometimes. Developing a whole new blockchain by early 2026.
Yeah.
That's a massive undertaking.
It really is. And their plans just for the rest of this year, Q3 and Q4 2025, are already packed. They're talking Manyu swap, their own DX.
Right, a cross-chain bridge too.
Yep, for Ethereum and BNB chain, plus NFT collections, a stake-to-earn system.
It's a lot. Especially when you look at the audit scores, which were kind of mixed, right?
They were. CertiK gave it about 60 out of 100. Cyberscope was lower, around 44. Not terrible, but not exactly confidence-inspiring either. It suggests you need to keep watching closely.
So the market is basically betting on whether they can actually pull off even part of this huge plan.
Pretty much. And execution needs to be fast, especially with that 1 quadrillion supply looming. They do have plans for deflation, though.
The burns. How significant are they supposed to be?
Sources mention plans for over $1 million in quarterly token burns. They call them Manyu Shiba burns. The idea is to reduce supply, create scarcity, but again, it all comes down to actually doing it consistently.
And you can't ignore the social media side. A 20 million plus following is huge. That drove that massive rally back in July, right? Over 1,300%.
It did. Pure hype power.
Yeah.
But we also saw the downside of that kind of mania.
Yeah, what happened with the RSI?
The relative strength index, which tracks momentum, hit something crazy like 94.45. Anything over 70 is considered overbought, so 94 is just extreme FOMO territory.
And then it crashed.
Yep, dropped 19% pretty quickly after hitting that peak. Classic bull off top.
And even getting listed on big exchanges like KuCoin and Bitmart wasn't purely positive. It added holders, but
it also triggered another big drop, about 19.38% just days later. It's that double-edged sword. Listings bring liquidity and new buyers, but they also give early investors a perfect chance to cash out large amounts, which hits the price hard.
Okay, so Manyu is the ambitious project trying to outrun the hype cycle with utility. Let's look at our third coin, Memecore, ticker M. This one seems to be taking a different route. Pure market momentum.
Yeah, Memecore's story is about climbing the ranks. It pretty quickly established itself as the 4th largest meme coin by market cap. That's impressive placement.
And its performance in September was strong too.
Very strong. It surged 230% during the month. And importantly, it wasn't just going up with the tide, if there even was one.
What do you mean?
Well, the sources specifically noted it outperforms some major competitors' coins like Pudgy Penguins, Bonk, even that official Trump coin.
Okay, so beating out other big names in the meme space shows real relative strength. Where's it trading now?
It's around $2.27 currently. It actually took a sharp dip recently, but managed to bounce back from that.
And the target for October? If the bulls stay in charge.
The big goal would be to retest its all-time high, which is at $2.99. It's about a 33% move up from where it is now.
33% potential upside. What's the key risk? Where's the flow if things turn bearish for Memecore?
For M, the level to watch is the 50-day exponential moving average, the EMA.
Okay, the 50-day EMA. What does that tell us?
Think of it as a key short-term trend indicator. It represents the average price over the last 50 days, weighted towards recent prices. It often acts as support in an uptrend.
So if it breaks below that 50-day EMA?
If that level fails to hold, then Memecore could see a pretty sharp drop. The next major support looks to be around $1.33, maybe even lower. Breaking the 50-day would definitely put a damper on its recent strong performance.
Oh, okay. So let's try to pull this all together. We've looked at 3 very different meme coins, all showing recent strength, but with distinct risk profiles.
Right. You have Burn, the pure volatility play, massive gains possible, but huge concentration risk versus a large community.
Then MNYU, the hyper-ambitious project, trying to build real utility in an ecosystem, but facing execution risk and that confusing data picture.
And Memecore, the market climber, strong momentum, impressive ranking, but needing to hold key technical levels like that 50-day EMA.
They all represent huge potential gains. We saw surges from 200% to that insane 2,300% day for burn.
Yeah.
But the risks are just as clear.
Absolutely. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, the question for all 3, really, is whether they can manage their specific core risks in the coming weeks and months.
Can MemYU actually deliver on that roadmap? Can Burns community absorb whale selling? Can Memecore sustain its momentum?
Exactly. It boils down to that fundamental tension in the meme sector. Can utility or community strength or market position actually overcome the inherent volatility and hype cycles that define these coins? Generating hype with millions of followers is one thing.
Delivering sustained value is completely different.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to make sense of this space?
Well, maybe the most interesting thing to watch, especially thinking about Q3 and Q4, is MNOYU. They've promised significant utility launches, big token burns.
Right.
So the critical question isn't if the hype fades, because meme hype always fades eventually. The real question is, can a project with such a complex, ambitious roadmap actually deliver those features fast enough to keep the momentum going, to satisfy that massive 20 million follower social media engine they've built?
That race between actually building things and keeping the crowd engaged.
That's the core drama. Can the tech execution keep pace with the social media frenzy? Watching how that plays out for MYU and how Burn and Memecore navigate their own challenges will tell us a lot about where the meme coin space is headed this October.